Oh, the next one, this is kind of just kind of breaking down some of the my favorite back in the day. I would get so confused with all of these different words, all the terms, right? So what is the difference between land contract, contract for deed, or like sub to or wrap mortgage? There's all these fancy terms. Can you kind of break it down peanut butter and jelly style?
Yeah, so when you're buying a property with a wrap or you buy it at sub two, you're buying with creative financing. Okay. And the thing with when you buy it that way, your deed does get transferred to your LLC, to your name, or to your land trust. I buy them in a land trust, and that's how I have my deed put in there. But some people are very worried about the deed. Rather, it's getting transferred to you and that now you have ownership of the property, or maybe they're worried about the due on sale clause, right? And they're worried about that triggered. So it depends on what state you call it. In New York, I think they call it a land contract. Some places they call it contract for deed. There's a lot of other names to call it. But all that means is that once we buy the property, we go to closing, the deed's going to sit in an escrow. The deed doesn't get transferred into my name yet. So the deed's still technically in the seller's name. So that's not going to trigger your due on sale clause. So when you're talking with the seller, a lot of times, what we do is I can offer just that. I don't want to do that. My lender has a due on sale clause. Well, if that deed transfers, then that could trigger that. It's very unlikely, but if it ever does, I could understand your concerns. And if I were to buy it with a contract for deed, that means I still buy the property from you at the price we talked about, the same terms. The only thing is the deed doesn't transfer it over until I have you cash out in full. So contract for deed, I like to control the deed. Once again, I don't want to have to get my seller back down the line for anything else. So I would like to control the deed. That's why I prefer to buy it with a wrap, but I would not rule out not doing the deal or having the solution is another way to make a deal with somebody who has that concern and you just can't get over that hump, right? They want to sell, they got high motivation or some type of pain, but they have concern about they don't trust you, they don't trust the process, or they're just scared, right? Maybe a neighbor told them something or the mailman said something. So this is another way to get around that to make them feel comfortable with the transaction. So it's knowing how to make the offers. No different than yesterday in Pensacola, Florida. We've been chatting with the gentleman for months now. He's in the military. They restationed him. He just bought the house. We talked about terms. He says, can't do terms. Said I'd be open to terms, but I can't really do. I'm looking for a cash offer. He puts the house on the market. I see it was on the market, doesn't sell. I pull it up on Zillow yesterday because I'm a follow-up madman. Now he's got it listed for rent. So of course I call him up. I said, Bob, why don't you just sell me the house on terms? You're already gone. Now you're gonna be a landlord, an accidental landlord. And I said, that's what happened to Jen when we met. She had her own house. I had my own house. And then when I bought my house and we got together, she moved into my house. Now we're renting her house out. And when she bought her house, she wasn't planning on being a landlord. But yet now here she is taking the calls with a leaky faucet or any of these other things. Is that what you intended to do? No, it wasn't. So he explains to me the situation, guys. So why we call it the Creative Finance Playbook, why I wear my shirts for you guys every single Tuesday. Why we call it the Creative Finance Playbook is because you got to have a different play, right? You go to the line of scrimmage, quarterback observes what the defense is giving them. And sometimes you got to make an audible. You got to make a switch because you're reading the defense, you see what they're giving you, and you got to do something different, right? So what I did in this situation, I explained to him, why don't you just sell it to me on seller financing? He says, well, I got offered seller financing already and I can't do it. The reason why is because his ex-girlfriend, his ex-mother-in-law, gave them the money for this property under a note at 1.9% interest. And he says that the deed transfers over. She said she's going to call the loan due. And he says she would let somebody assume it at 4.5%. I said, well, I don't want to have to go through assumption paperwork and get my credit check. That's not how I do it. I'm an 800 credit score. There's no reason to do that. And at 4.5%, it doesn't pencil out for a rental. If I could get it at 1.9 at your current payments, I can make this thing work for a rental. And that's what I would do. So I said, well, then why don't we do this? You're going to be leasing this place. Why don't you lease it to me with the option to buy it? I'll cover the closing costs, but you're going to put in a renter. You're going to be moving. Then this person rents it, and who knows? They're not going to keep it as nice as you. You don't have any light at the end of your tunnel. This is going to be a rental for who knows how long. The difference is if you rent it to me, we're going to have the option to buy it for whatever price we determine. I'm taking care of the maintenance calls. I'm taking care of all of the things, not you. So you're free to go because my lease is a little bit different. But my lease also says I'm going to re-rent it to somebody else and I'm going to resell it to them for a little bit more of a higher price. And my goal is to get them to buy that down the road. So I'm going to provide you a light at the end of the road, at the end of the tunnel, and you're not going to get the maintenance calls in the meantime. And he says, that sounds like a great idea. Let me sleep on this night. Me and you need to talk about this tomorrow because he was literally getting into base. So this is the situation where what do? I called an audible. The deed couldn't transfer over because of ex mother-in-law, but I still want that low payment. Right? So how am I going to buy that? I'm going to buy it in a lease purchase. And when I buy in a lease purchase, guys, what do I put down? 0. How much do I have in closing costs? 0. I'm controlling real estate with a piece of paper, 2 pieces of paper, maybe 3. And I control this real estate now. Now I'm going to put in a tenant buyer who's going to give me on a $300,000 home, $20,000 to $30,000 down. I'm going to get about a $500 spread on the rent every single month. And I'm going to get them cashed out. Rather, they need help with their credit. Maybe they just relocating because of the military. Pensacola is a huge military base. So there are people moving and going all the time there. Guys. So once again, this is a great opportunity for somebody. This is a brick ranch, 2,000 square foot brick ranch with brand new solar panels on it. A heck of a deal. It really, really is. And his PITI on this house, I think it's like 1,600 a month. It's low. And the house is nuts inside. Like whoever redid it did a great job. Like if this was like next to where we lived and it had a pool, I'd be showing this gem. She would say the island isn't big enough. I don't blame her. I like having a big island too. It's a little tiny island, but it's done. Yeah, but they did a really great job though. They did. It's kick ass. So once again, how am I able to make that offer still work without triggering the due on sale clause with mother-in-law, without her knowing now that he sold his property to somebody else or all the other hooky doogie? Creative Finance Playbook is that reason, guys. So, and if you aren't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Creative Finance Playbook, go check that out. So make sure you subscribe to there because we do put a lot of extra stuff on there. So Creative Finance Playbook, YouTube, subscribe. We put some extra dope stuff out there. You guys are not going to miss.
Super grateful for all the subscribers. We're growing on that channel. We're thankful for you guys to be a part of the group. Everything. We also have our newsletter that'll go out with a reminder every Tuesday on our website. So if you want to check that out. And yeah, we're rocking with our new launch here on our 3-month program. So always more if you want more. Just let us know how we can help you.